As I continue with the topic of the glory of the Bhagavatam tells that the aim of human life is to practice devotion to Sri Krishna. And that devotion must fulfill two conditions, ahaituki and apratihata. Yesterday I spoke to you about the first condition, and that is ahaituki. Devotion to God, devotion to Sri Krishna must be free of all desires, ranging from the desire of this world, from the greatest pleasures of this world, to right up to the desire for liberation. All desires must be renounced. The other condition is apratihata. Devotion must be continuous, it must be unbroken. We tend to take devotion as an activity that we engage in from time to time, perhaps once a week, perhaps once a day. For some people, it's once a year, or on special days, like festival days, Tyohar. But the Bhagavatam tells us, Sutji Maharaj is answering the question of Shaunakadik Paramhansas, and he's telling them that devotion must be apratihata. It must be constant, it must be unbroken. When you pour oil from a bottle into the pot, then that flow of oil is continuous, isn't it? In the same way, the stream of our mind must flow continuously towards the lotus feet of God. Just as the Ganga Ji flows constantly and it empties into Ganga Sagar, in the same way the stream of our mind must flow continuously without a break towards the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Krishna. If someone says, I am Satyavadi, I am a truthful man, then it means that he must be truthful 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He says, no, sometimes I'm truthful. Well, everyone is truthful at sometimes. Even the biggest liar cannot be telling lies all the time. If he says, if he's feeling hungry, he says, I'm hungry. That's the truth. So everyone tells the truth at some point, sometimes. But so if you say that you tell the truth sometimes, that doesn't mean that you can be in the category of Harish Chandra, who always spoke the truth. If you say you're brahmachari, that you are celibate, and then you also say you have 5 kids, then that doesn't make sense. And you say, well, sometimes I'm celibate. Well, everyone is like that. But a brahmachari is the one who observes the rules of celibacy all the time, 24 hours a day, not only physically, but even mentally. Similarly, a devotee of God is the one who is always in love with God at all times, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And his mind does not waver. His mind does not go away from the thoughts of God. Satatam kirtayanto mam, says the Bhagavad Gita. Yo mam smarati nitya shaha. Nitya. The meditation on God, the love for God must be constant. God must be on the mind at all times, not just sometimes. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yajjuhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Bhagavad Gita, it's like the 9th chapter, verse numbers 27. Bhagwan Shri Krishna says to Arjun, whenever you are doing something, you are performing an action dedicated to me. In other words, think of me when you are performing all your actions. Whenever you're eating, when you're having your meals, think of me at the same time. When you are performing acts of charity, think of me at all times. Doesn't matter what you are doing, you must be always thinking of me. Lord Shri Krishna told Arjun, in fact, to think of him at all times while being engaged in battle. The battle of Mahabharat, which lasted 18 days, a fierce battle was fought. And Arjun, before he starts fighting the battle, Sri Krishna says, think of me at all times while you are engaged in fighting the battle. Don't think of anything else. Don't think of anyone else. And we say, I am too busy. I'm very busy in life. My life is busy. I can't be doing devotion. Arjun is being asked to practice devotion even as he fights a battle. He has to protect himself from the enemy and he has to destroy the enemy. These are two very difficult actions, difficult works to do. And yet Shri Krishna says, think of me at all times. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu manusmara yudhyacha. Chapter 8, verse 7, Bhagavad Gita. So Shri Krishna is saying that no matter what you are doing, don't think that you are too busy to think of me. At all times, in every place, you must think of me. But at the practical level, we think, all right, I've heard it, but it doesn't make sense to me. How can I implement this? I cannot. At the same time, we have enough faith in God to think if Bhagwan Shri Krishna is saying something, it must mean that it is possible. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said it. So the important thing for us to learn is how to go about daily life and yet keep Shri Krishna in mind and not to forget him. The fact is that when we are engaged in doing something, when we are performing an action, we have a choice to perform it in this way or that way. Whenever we are doing anything, we need the involvement of our mind, right? We definitely need the involvement of our mind whenever we are doing anything. It could be a very simple action like closing your eyes, opening your eyes. So simple. But the mind has to be involved before we can perform the simplest task. Don't forget that our mind is the one that performs all our actions for us. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho panchadashi. And this particular verse is in many scriptures. Exactly the same, because it's a very important one. Mind alone is the reason behind bondage to this world, and mind alone is a reason behind liberation from this world. So mind is the one that performs all our actions. We do need the involvement of our mind to perform all the actions that we perform. However, we do not need the attachment of our mind to perform that action. We don't need to be attached to that action in order to do it. You're working in an office, you have a job, you're not attached to the company, unless it's your own, you're the owner. You're working for someone else. You're not attached to the corporation, that company. You're doing your work, so you can do the work in that way without attachment, but with involvement of the mind. But if it is your own company, you are not only running it with your mind involved in it, you also have your mind attached to it. When the company is running at a loss, you do feel the pain. And you do feel very, very happy when there is a profit. The bigger the profit, the happier you become, because your attachment is in that company, because you own it. It's yours. But if you're working for someone else, it's someone else's company. I'm getting my paycheck. I don't care if the company is losing. revenue because I'm just doing my job. And if the company can no longer employ me, I'll go somewhere else. I'm looking out for my options. So we can do the same work in two ways, with attachment of our mind, with our mind attached to it, or with our mind detached from it. There was once a beggar, and he would go to the marketplace and he would beg from shop owners. Sometimes they would give him, a shop owner, a kind shop owner would give him some coins, or someone would give him some food to eat, and he would be very happy with that. Sometimes the shop owner would shoo him away, get out of here. And sometimes he'd be chased with a broom. And he would feel very, very bad about that. One day, a shop owner gave him a lottery ticket and said, here you go. Now it's your luck. If you win the lottery, you'll become very wealthy. And if you don't, well, it wasn't meant to be, but I'm giving you a lottery ticket. And as luck would have it, that beggar, he won the jackpot. He won millions and millions of dollars. So now he's living in a mansion. Now he doesn't know anything about finances and how to handle finances. So very wisely, he hires a consultant, financial consultant. And that consultant is very good. And this man who is so rich, so wealthy, he multiplies his money many times over. So he's a billionaire now. One day, he opens this secret closet he has in his mansion, and there's a box there. He opens a box, and in that box are the clothes that he used to wear as a beggar. They're rags, they're worn out and torn, and he thinks, let me just go back to the same place I used to go. Let me pretend I'm a beggar. Let's see what happens. So he put on those clothes and he went to the same marketplace and he asked the same shop owners. Some of them recognized him and said, we haven't seen you in such a long time. How are you? And these kind shop owners gave him something. And some shop owners once again shooed him away. They called him a lazy fellow and they said, you're good for nothing and you're still begging. But now he doesn't feel offended. He doesn't feel sad when someone shoos him away, and he doesn't feel happy when someone gives him some coins. Why? Because he's no longer attached to the money. He has billions of dollars. He doesn't care for a few coins. And he knows he's not a beggar. He doesn't feel offended. He doesn't feel offended at all. Now his mind is detached from all this. Earlier, it was very much attached. Let's say there is a nurse who's working in the maternity ward. She helps deliver so many babies. And when the baby is healthy, she laughs along with the family members. She offers her congratulations and she says, this baby is beautiful. God bless this beautiful baby. Then she goes about her work. And if there is a stillborn child, then she offers her condolences and then she moves on. She says, well, I'm so sorry for your loss. She doesn't feel any sadness when there is something wrong with the delivery, and she doesn't feel elated when the baby is born healthy. She's just doing her duty. She's detached. But if something happens to her own child, if her child even gets a cold, she worries about her. She worries about her child. If her child even gets as much as a cold, because her attachment is to her child, not to someone else's child. If there's a bank teller and the bank has lost a lot of money, She doesn't feel the pain of having lost that the bank has lost so much money. But if she loses a little bit money, that she drops some of her own money, she just got paid and she cashed in the check, and she's losing maybe even $20, she thinks, where did the $20 go? She's not attached to those millions of dollars in the bank because she thinks that's not my money. But this money, my paycheck, I've cashed it. This is my money. So I'm attached to it. She's very much attached to it. So if she loses some of that, she feels the pain. It's all a matter of working with attachment or without attachment. And the we have the ability to work in both ways. I'll give you another example. There's a woman, she's a married woman, and her husband is coming home from being away for about 3 months because his job has taken him to another country. She's very excited that he's coming home. So although she has a cook, also she has hired a cook, but she wants to cook the meal for herself, and she gives the cook a day off. She cooks all the favorite foods of her husband. She's so excited, so happy. She works all day long preparing this, very lovingly preparing that. I think he would like some kheer, and maybe he would like some halwa. I'll make both. I'll make matar paneer. He really likes it. I'll make this, I'll make that. She makes 20 different dishes. And even at the end of the day, she has set the table, she's waiting for her husband. She doesn't feel tired. When her husband comes home, then he has this meal, he eats the food, and she asks, how is it? Every cook wants to know, how's the food? Right? Every cook wants to know that. How is it? Fair question. How's the food? And he said, oh, finger licking good. So good. I was starving for this food. It's so wonderful. I was just waiting to come home to eat this food. And I don't know, I just ate such tasteless food for those 3 months. Now, the next day, and then after serving her husband the food and after he's gone to rest, she calls her best friend and they talk, and she says, my husband has come back and I'm so happy. Finally, he's back. And I made this for him. I made this for him. And he really enjoyed it. She doesn't feel tired. She doesn't feel, she doesn't feel that, oh, why did he come home? I was so much work to do. But the next day, because she has overworked herself, she's not feeling so well now. So she tells the cook, I want you to make this for Sahab. I want you to make this. Again, 20 dishes. And the cook is now working in the kitchen and he's making all those delicacies. And he serves the food and he asks his employer, sir, how is the food? And the man says, oh, it's wonderful. It's so good, delicious. The cook goes home. But the cook's reaction is not the same as the man's wife's reaction. You can understand that. He goes home and he tells his wife, oh, these people, they work me too much. It's too much work. Oh, who eats 20 different dishes? I worked all day long. I'm so tired. And she says, like, let me give you some food. No, I don't want to eat. I just want to take a nice hot bath and I'll go to sleep. I don't want to see food anymore. So the wife and the cook both did the same work. The food was delicious in both cases. But the wife cooked a meal for her husband with lots of attachment. And the cook did the same work with a detached mind. So this simple example shows us that we can do the same work with a mind which is attached or with a mind which is detached. So we need to detach our mind so that we may keep it attached to Lord Krishna. And then at the same time, we must physically do the work. That is the instruction that Sri Krishna gives to Arjun and thereby to all of us. So we do have a choice. And if you think about it, every person in the world is basically attached to just a very few people, very few people. Sometimes just two, three, four people in in her family, in her immediate family. Sometimes, if the family is large, 10, 12 people, 20 people, let's say, that's about it. How many people are you attached to? Not very many. And towards the rest of the world, we are detached. We're detached. So, if we can find a way, if we can work on becoming detached from even the few people, then that is what Sri Krishna is saying. If you become detached from even just these few people you are attached to, then you can have your mind absorbed completely in me. Completely. Shri Krishna says, right at this moment, your situation is that you say, verbally you're saying, Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Verbally you're saying to me, oh my Lord, you are my all in all, my only mother, my only father, and my all in all. But inwardly, I know your heart of hearts because I know everything about you. So I know that in your heart of hearts, you have many worldly attachments. You don't accept me to be your one and only. You are attached to your mother, your father, your siblings, and your spouse, your children. You have these attachments. But there are not that many people you are attached to. So learn to do your duty towards your family members. Learn to do your duty with a mind which is detached, and then attach your mind to me, says Lord Krishna. But we say to him, Bhagwan, O Shyam Sundar, how can I do my duty with a mind which is detached? It's only if I'm attached, a mother says, if I'm not attached to my children, how can I be a good mother? I can't be. This is ridiculous. I can't be detached from my children and do my duty properly. I can't do that. But in fact, we always do our duty properly if we are detached. With a detached mind, we do our duty properly. With a mind which is attached, we make mistakes. Garbadi ho jati hai. For instance, there's a little child, a boy, and his stomach is upset. He's 8 years old. His stomach is upset. So the doctor, mother and father have taken the child to the doctor, and the doctor says, just give him just khichdi, just simple food, simple food. Don't give him anything fried. Don't give him sweets and so on. No ice cream, no chocolates. Just simple food until he gets better. All right. So now the child says to his mother when they get home, I want to have ice cream. Mommy, I want ice cream. She said, Not, no, there's no way I will give you ice cream because didn't you just hear the doctor? Mommy, I want ice cream. I want ice cream. And the child throws a temper tantrum. You know, all the parents know children are very smart. They know how to get their way. If you're in the mall, in the store, they will embarrass you by just laying down there and just screaming, holy terror. And then you think, oh my goodness, give him what he wants. That's just so embarrassing. And the child has the child has the parents in the palm of her hands. So the child throws a temper tantrum, child cries, and the mother's heart melts. Oh, Papu, you're not supposed to have ice cream. Don't tell your daddy. You can have some chocolate ice cream. So she gives the ice cream to the child, even though she knows it's not good for him. Why did she do this? Is she an enemy to her child? No, she's attached to her child. due to her attachment, she says, I can't bear to see him cry. When he cries, I cry. So her heart melts. Now, if someone was hired to take care of the child, and that person, the nanny, would not give the ice cream to the child. No, no, no. You can cry all you want. And the child will cry, and then the tears will dry, and they were never really there in the first place. But then the child gets tired of it, then goes on to something else. But if it's someone who is hired to take care of the child, that person, her heart does not melt. She will do her duty. Many times, because of attachment, the mother or the father is not able to do their duty properly. And it's not just mother and father, but I'm taking the example of a mother and parents and children. There was once a man who had committed murder, and he was given uh, life sentence, no chance of parole. And when his mother came to visit him during the visits, he said, Mother, I want to tell you a secret. And she went right up close to him. He bit her ear off. And the prison warden and others are looking on. He said, What kind of man are you? And he said, If my mother had been strict with me, I would not be here today. Nothing against mothers. It's just a story. Because a mother always have a closer bond with the child, you see. So he says, I started stealing small stuff at a very young age. I stole a pencil. Someone told my mother, and she said, Oh, he's so young, he'll grow out of it. Then I became bold. I started stealing money out of her purse. And she turned the other eye. Oh, it's okay. He just stole $10. He just took $10. He didn't take it. He stole it from you. She said he took it. And my money is his money. It's okay. He took it. So he became more bold. And when he got quite a bit older, he started robbing a bank. And during one of those robberies, he actually killed someone. And now he's behind bars. All lifelong, he'll be behind there. And there's no chance of parole. So he said, if I had been stopped, I would not be in this position today. So oftentimes, when we are showing our love, we are not doing our duty. Duty is done without attachment. It is done more effectively when it is without attachment. Let's say there's a judge, and the judge has to, a case comes before the judge. The judge says, I cannot be the presiding judge over this case. Why not? Because you see, one of the parties is my brother. I cannot be impartial. This is my brother, and that's a stranger. And I am partial towards my brother. Because of attachment for my brother, I will not be an effective judge. So he removes himself from the case. Another judge is put in charge. A world-class surgeon will not operate on her own child. But you are the best possible surgeon. No, my hands will tremble. This is my child. I cannot perform surgery on my child. Because her heart will melt. She will not be able to do her duty. So you understand? Duty performed with attachment is not performed effectively. Duty without attachment is performed very effectively. So we should not think that we cannot do our duty. You should not think you cannot do your duty towards your family members with a mind which is detached from them. And by the way, that doesn't mean that you tell your child, mother tells her child, look, beta, I'm not attached to you. I'm giving you food. I am doing your laundry without attachment. There's no need to say it. The child does not have to know it. You know it in your heart. There was a very naive devotee who once called his parents from the US to India, and he said, Mother, Father, I'm now becoming detached from you. So they started crying, and and this I heard this, and I asked him, why did you say this? Oh, because I need to be detached from them. That's not something you declare to them. When you become detached, it doesn't mean you become heartless. It doesn't mean that. You will do your duty beautifully, and you will do it effectively. And you will bring God into your mind. You'll bring God into your mind because now you have room in your heart. You have space. Then Lord Krishna, there is space for him. Sri Krishna comes, he's living in the heart, but as a judge. But as the merciful Lord, he wants to come into our heart, and he says, but the living room of your heart is just so busy. So many people there. So many people are there. You have so many attachments in the world. You are attached to so many people, so there's no room for me. So he leaves. He leaves. He does not stay because there's no room for him. So it's like your heart is like a living room. And there's a couch, there's a love seat, there's many sofas and so on and so forth. It's a large living room, but there is no seat left because all the seats are taken. So Shri Krishna says, where shall I sit? Your heart is so occupied. That's why Lord Krishna says, if you wish to practice devotion, continuous devotion, unbroken devotion, you must do your duty without attachment. Now, the next question is, how can anyone think about Lord Krishna all the time without a break? That's a tall order. It's a very daunting task, and I would not be able to perform this task. But whenever you have a daunting task, the students will know if you have to write an essay, that's a daunting task. You have to make a presentation, you have to work on some project, that's a daunting task. You have an exam coming up, you need to prepare, that's a daunting task. Adults also, children, adults, students, and parents, everyone. There are many times when we have tasks that we need to face, but they're very daunting. So what do? Take it step by step. One step at a time, one step at a time. And you'll get it done. If you are at the bottom of the stairs and you want to go to the top, you cannot expect to go there in one leap, one jump. It's impossible. You will end up breaking many bones. So don't try to do that. You will not do that. You will go step by step, right? So let's go step by step and ultimately end up in a place where we are thinking about Lord Krishna all the time. Jagatguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj gives a very effective example of a monkey and a monkey trainer. A monkey is the most mischievous animal, cannot sit still. A monkey cannot sit still. It's always jumping around, moving around. But in India, there are many people who train monkeys. How do they do it? How do they do it? They do it like this. A monkey trainer takes a 100-foot long rope and ties it around the monkey's neck. The monkey jumps around as much as it can, and then it wants to go further, but the rope chokes the monkey's neck, and feeling the pain, the monkey thinks, let me just jump around in this much area. And a week or two later, by that time, the monkey has resigned itself to jumping around and within that area. Then the clever trainer cuts down the length of the rope to 50 feet. And the monkey cannot go as far as it was going earlier. So the monkey thinks. Animals have minds also. They're able to think. They feel pleasure. They feel joy. They feel pain. So the monkey is thinking, what is going on? I was able to go much further, but I don't know why I can't go that much further. But if I try to go further, I feel the pain. So I may as well just stay within this area. Some time passes and the monkey has resigned itself to 50 feet. Then the trainer cuts down the length of the rope to 20 feet and 10 feet, 5 feet, ultimately 1 foot. There's 1 foot of rope left. And then the monkey, the most mischievous animal, is not so mischievous anymore. The monkey thinks, I'm not going to bother jumping around. There's no area for me to jump around in. So the monkey just sits there quietly. A monkey just sitting quietly? Yes, because it has been trained. In exactly the same way, we must train our monkey-like mind. Saint Tulsidas has said that our mind is like a monkey. But he has said more than that. Graha grihit punivat vash tapuni bichi mar ताहि पियाय वारुणी कहिए कहा उपचार. Tulsidas ji says that our mind is like a monkey which is mischievous by nature. But that monkey is suffering from it's very, how do you say it? Graha grihit. It's become hyper. It's even become more hyper. And then on top of that, a scorpion has stung the monkey. So the monkey is writhing in pain. It's become even more mischievous, more jumpy. On top of that, some fool comes along and gives alcohol to the monkey to drink, just as a joke, cruel joke. And the monkey becomes even more mischievous. We asked Tulsidas ji, why are you speaking about monkeys? And he said, I want to tell you, that is the state of your mind. Oh, I see. The mind is extremely mischievous. It's mischievous by nature. Then the sanskars of the past, they make the mind more mischievous. The present environment, it makes the mind even more mischievous. And the choices we make, they make the mind even more mischievous. So our mind is extremely, extremely mischievous. It's like a monkey. How do we control this mind? How do we get the mind to think about Lord Krishna all the time? We do it just like the monkey trainer has trained the monkey. We should train the mind to think about Shri Krishna for just 1 second every hour. That's it, 1 second every hour. So right from morning till night, you train your mind. Okay, we are going to think about Shri Krishna. Just one second. Can you do it? The mind says, okay, every hour on the hour. So we try that. And then if we are very diligent, if we try very diligently, oftentimes we give up and we say, can't do it. But if we are diligent, if we have a hunger for God, if we have a hunger to practice real devotion, if we have a hunger for attaining peace within, and if we are hungry for real happiness, then we will practice diligently. Every hour on the hour, I will think about Him for 1 split second. That's it. It's not going to disturb your work. Nothing will be disturbed. It's just one moment every hour. That's it. When the mind becomes accustomed to thinking about Shri Krishna for a second every hour, then you cut the length of the rope. In other words, you then try to think about Him every 45 minutes. Every 45 minutes, I'm going to think about Shri Krishna. Then, every 30 minutes, every half hour, I'm going to think of Him. Then every 20 minutes, I'll think of Him. Every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, every minute, and then every moment. And by that time, with so much practice, it will feel natural. Just like breathing is so natural to us. We don't think about breathing. Okay, inhale, exhale. Now, I better not forget how to breathe. Better not forget to breathe. How do we become so good at it? It's lifetimes of practice. Now we don't even think about it. We're breathing. Nobody forgets to breathe. Nobody forgets how to breathe. Children are taught many lessons, but they're never given a lesson on how to breathe or how to remember to breathe all the time because it's a natural process. In the same way, with practice, diligent practice, there will come a time when the mind will think about Shri Krishna all the time. Right now, it seems like a daunting task, but if we take it little bit at a time, step by step, and we don't give up, just like we don't give up in the world. A beggar is going door to door asking for food, and he's gone to 10 people, and they've all chased him away. Some threw a rotten tomato at him, someone threw a tomato at him, somebody threw a chappal at him, a slipper at him, somebody just called him all sorts of names. 10 people, he's knocked at 10 doors, and 10 people have abused him. But does he say, I'm not going to beg anymore? I'm not going to ask for food anymore? No, he doesn't. Why? How would he live if he doesn't eat? He will have to do it. He will have to keep on trying. And we say, well, yeah, of course, because he'll die if he doesn't get any food. He has to keep on begging. But what about us? How are we going to fare if we don't try? Coming back to this world again and again, the same old thing. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, जठरे शयनम इह संसारे खलु दुस्तारे कृपया पारे पाहि मुरारे भज गोविंदम भज गोविंदम भज गोविंदम भज मूढ़मते. We'll keep on coming to this world again and again. We'll keep on hanging upside down in the womb of a mother again and again. We'll keep on facing the death again and again. We are born, we die, we are reborn, we die again. And this play has been staged uncountable times. How long will this go on? When will we pay attention to what the Bhagavatam is saying? When will we listen to the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Gita, Ramayana? When will we pay attention to what saints are saying? The ones who have no personal agenda, the ones who work only for us, for our sake. When will we pay attention to them? When will we pay attention to what God is saying to us? He's waiting for us with our arms outstretched just to embrace us. We're not going there. We say it's too tough. People write an exam. I want to become an accountant. I failed. I'll try again. Failed again. Try again. 4 times, 5 times. But I'm determined. We don't give up when it comes to something worldly, do we? Because it's the matter of the physical body. Because everything that we're working for is for the body. This is for us, the soul. Not for our body, but for us, the soul. So we cannot afford to say, well, this is too tough. We have had the privilege of learning how to practice devotion to Shri Krishna so that ultimately we are thinking of him all the time. What this takes is a lot of practice. Don't let anyone tell you, and I'm sure if you hear it, you will not believe it. Well, I hope you will not believe it. But there's a magic mantra I will give you, and it will cost you $50,000, but you will be able to have the spiritual experience like you've never had. Don't believe that. You cannot purchase spiritual experiences. You cannot purchase them. If we could, we would have purchased them. Save all your money, buy the spiritual experience. You're able to do Roop Dhyan so easily. Well, I bought myself entry to Golok with $5 million. Oh, well, great. I'm going to save up too. You cannot do that. It takes hard work. If someone says, I will bless you so that you'll be able to think about Shri Krishna, that's an imposter. No, The blessing comes from the Guru in the sense that the Guru teaches us how to do the hard work. And the Guru keeps on inspiring us if we don't give up. That's the blessing that the Guru gives. The blessing doesn't come in the form of the Guru just doing everything. A devotee said to Shri Maharaj ji, roop dhyan nahi hota, aap karwa dijiye na. Maharaj ji, I'm not able to do roop dhyan, you please make it happen. Maharaj ji said in his wonderfully sarcastic way, sarcastic sense of humor, no, you just sit, do nothing, I'll do everything for you. You don't have to do anything. I'll just do everything for you. In the world, we work so hard. I've heard people saying, I worked out of 24 hours, I work 18 hours. And I've worked like that for years until I came to the point where I am right now. We are comfortable, but she's husband and wife both work for 18 hours. 18 hours doing this, doing that, just any which way to just make sure that they're comfortable, physically comfortable. We do so much for the body, so much for the body. So Shri Krishna says, for the soul also, for yourself, you must work diligently. Practice. And that practice is sadhana. Sadhana means practice. So we must engage in spiritual sadhana, devotional sadhana. We must practice devotion. There is much to learn about the practice of devotion. And this topic is, of course, very practical because it is a practice of devotion. So that is my topic for tomorrow, the final day of this brief series. How to practice devotion to Sri Krishna effectively. And how also to protect that sadhana that we are engaged in. Because even though you are earning $1 a day, but if you're saving 50 cents, that's good. You earned $1, it wasn't much, but you saved half of that. Good, you'll have good savings in a due course of time. But you earned a lot of money. You earned $500 a day, but you spent $550 a day. That's not wise. So even though we're doing sadhana, a little bit sadhana, we need to protect it. So my topic for tomorrow is sadhana and how to protect that sadhana. बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय.